Hi Dog family, and welcome to another episode of Talk the Talk with me, Desh, Pillay, Bechan. Please excuse what's happening on the left hand side of me. We have Carolyn that's knitting away, our biggest knitwit in South Africa. Anyway, I'm going to get into the introduction. So in the early days when our non-profit organization struggled with limited support and recognition, our next guest decision to feature on our platform proved to be a pivotal turning point. Her unwavering dedication, professional expertise, and authentic passion added a layer of credibility that helped establish trust among sponsors, partners, and communities alike. Thanks to the passion and efforts of the likes of Carolyn, what was once a small grassroots initiative has now blossomed into an internationally recognized organization, making a tangible impact across borders, even featuring as the only African female motoring platform to represent the continent for the second time this year at the largest automotive show in Las Vegas. Since then, we have grown to become the world's largest automotive platform dedicated to empowering women, with a reach of over 40 million people worldwide. We are currently celebrating the 7th annual Motoring Woman of the Year Awards, powered by MFC, a division of Nedbank. And it is worth noting that beyond inviting us into her home, where she was still knitting, she was also selected in the philanthropy category during the awards' second year. It was the year of COVID, so unfortunately we did not have an event. As we celebrate this incredible growth and widespread influence, it's important to acknowledge that the time has come to not only sustain but also to give back, to spread the word of Carolyn's passion. 67 blankets for Mandela Day. I have personally wanted to honor our relationship and pay forward the generosity of Carolyn that has helped fuel our journey. Carolyn's example reminds us that building credibility is just the beginning. True success lies in deepening our responsibility to those who have supported and benefit from our mission. Before I introduce Carolyn Steyn, I think she's still knitting, so I have some time. I want to take a moment to extend my heartfelt condolences on the recent loss of her beloved husband, Steyn. He was not only a remarkable figure in the automotive community as the owner and founder of Auto in General, but also a legendary philanthropist. It goes without saying that my interest, though, in Carolyn was her connection to Nelson Mandela. Having family of my own and friends who were Madiba's friends and comrades, who introduced me to activism in my field of GBV, rape and suicide. This provided the encouragement and inspiration I needed to align myself with Carolyn all those years back. So without any delay, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Carolyn Steyn, the founder of 67 Blankets for Mandela Day. And as always, this interview is very proudly brought to you by MFC, a division of Nedbank, in partnership with Seriti Solutions. Hello, Carolyn, and thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Desh, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And that was the longest, one of the longest intros I've ever done. And I hope I've done
But you
justice.
did it very, very well.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. Wow, it's more than 5 years we sat in your beautiful home. I did not even have the guts to get in front of the camera. My daughter Nita had to do that.
And look at you now.
Now I'm like, I have to do it. So yeah, it's such an honor, a pleasure to have you with us, and for us to be able to align again. I don't know about you. Do you believe in coincidences, or do you believe in fate?
It's a very difficult question to answer. But I must say, with 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day, things happen that are, you kind of scratch your head and you think, how did that happen? And then sometimes I think that Madiba is orchestrating this movement, because it's just snowballed into a movement which was not the intention. So, and with the passing of my husband, who was very, very close to Madiba, I think that the two of them are plotting and planning for even bigger things.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have angels up there that really do take care of us.
Yeah.
So, Carolyn, given that it has been less than 6 months, since you lost your beloved husband, like I said, it's actually extremely challenging to express my hope that you are doing okay. I don't know how you're feeling. Have you been managing this difficult time? Is it something you don't want to talk about? I know at one point you had a black profile picture, and I was dying inside. Really, I was.
I think that picture, I had to put it up because that's exactly what I felt. This darkness, this emptiness, this void. Because Doe was my raison d'etre. And I do believe he was my soulmate. And everything that I did and that I focused on over the past 25 years was Doe. And I think it's known that his health wasn't very good over the past number of years, so I had a team of nurses looking after him, but I would just make sure, I was the matron, and his life became, he used to be quite a rascal.
Could see it in his eyes, though.
a hellraiser in the earlier years, but over the past 13 years I do believe that he found peace and tranquility, finally, and we had calm, happy times together. And of course he loved his pigeons, so we'd spend time outside. After he was exercising on his stationary bicycle, we'd go outside and watch the pigeons swirling around, and then when babies were born he'd hold them, and it was just so beautiful. I don't know why I'm telling you all of this, but certainly all of that has gone. The pigeons still swirl around, and of course I think of Doe.
It's so fresh. It's only 4 months.
It's raw.
And that's why everything happened so unexpectedly. I would have wanted at least a year to go by for us to align, but that is why I asked you, do you believe in fate and coincidence? I was going to wait for a bit to align with 67 blankets. I was hoping it would be actually the following year, but there was reasons that I reached out to you, and I'm glad that I did.
Well, I'm glad you did too.
So despite all the challenges that you are facing, we really sincerely appreciate your dedication to this cause, and that's what we're going to talk about today. A cause that by the way, my Talk family, I am extremely excited, and it's not just about the blankets. It's not about what Carolyn is busy doing now, and I hope the camera can see what Carolyn is knitting at the moment. I don't know how to knit. I promised myself that I would learn, but the thing is, as you all know, my life is so full as a GBV rape and suicide counselor and facilitator, that I believe these blankets and this warmth will envelope my cause in terms of supplying our ladies that are in dire need of help. So there's many ways that I would like to collaborate with this cause. So I'm going to first ask Carolyn to give me, or to share with us that the aha moment. I am not Oprah, But that aha moment about 67 blankets for Mandela, what personal connection did you have to the cause? Why 67 blankets? How did this come about?
Okay, all right. So as I mentioned, Doe and Madiba had a very close father-son relationship.
Okay.
And we used to spend a lot of time with him. So of course Madiba is close to everybody's heart, but you know, the fact that, you know, I'm a little girl that came from Kensington. I didn't know a single politician. I mean, I used to hang out with actors and theatre people, and never in my life did I ever think that I would be meeting Nelson Mandela. But having met Doe and, you know, that relationship brought me into Madiba's sphere. And so when Madiba passed away on the 5th of December, 2013, of course, everybody was gutted, and I think our country changed. And on Doe's birthday, the 19th of December, that same year, he'd just come out of the hospital, and he wasn't very strong. And so I thought, we have to celebrate his birthday in some way, obviously not with a big party, because he's not able to appreciate that right now. And so I had a small little lunch, 6-8 people at the table, and one of the people at the table was Zelda Lechransi, Madiba's assistant for many years. And we were talking about memories of Madiba, time spent with him and Oprah and Bill Clinton and Robert De Niro, etc. And then of course the discussion led to what to do on Mandela Day the following year.
Right.
Which classroom do you go and paint? I've never painted in my life. And Zelda said, make 67 blankets.
Love that.
That's how that started. And but it was light-hearted banter, sort of one ear in, out the other. And then Sharon, my sister, arrived on Christmas Day with a bag of wool and a crochet hook, reminding me of my pledge. So I started on Christmas Day 2013. The last time I had crocheted, this is crochet, was when I was at school at JP High School for Girls.
You're literally doing this now with my color themes, green, yellow.
Oh, there we go, you see.
The yellow behind you.
Yeah.
Like so.
Now, you see, the name, the official name of this color is Carolyn's hair in lockdown.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Because, you know, my hair, I couldn't go to the hair salon, and so I was white, and I was yellow, and I was grey. I was a pigeon. So we have our own wool. It's made by Kismet Yarns.
I know Kismet, yes.
They're fabulous. Yeah. So making every day a Mandela Day, 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day. So they came up with this colour, much to my big shock, called Carolyn's Hair in Lockdown. So
I love it.
Yeah. So it started on Doe's birthday, followed by Christmas Day. Graça Michelle, Madiba's widow, was with us.
Right.
So it was endorsed right at the start by her.
Wow.
And you know, several months later she said, my dear, you do realize that you have found your calling. And it has become my calling.
Wow, this is like so full circle, physical full circle, right? Moment for me, because you were with Madiba's widow, started something majestic, international, national, and I'm with Doe's widow, starting something very big.
Yeah.
So
but it also,
I think it's
you know,
be amazing.
Showed you the power of, certainly of Madiba, global power.
Right.
And the power of social media combined. And when I put it onto Facebook, because I couldn't make 67 blankets on my own. And my friend said, I don't cook, I don't knit, I'm too busy. So I put it onto Facebook at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Is there anybody out there that might be able to help me make a blanket, because I've pledged 67? That's what I wanted. 67 blankets, and I didn't know that I'd be able to reach that by Mandela Day. But when I woke up a few hours later and I saw the response from hundreds of people, Hashtag I'm in, hashtag yes we wool, hashtag 67 blankets. And then a few months later, I got a call from Mfundi Vundla, the producer of Generations, the biggest soap opera in Africa, with a viewership then of 10 million a night. And then he asked if I'd be interested in Generations having a storyline attached to 67 blankets around what we're doing. And of course that changed everything.
I will never forget that name, Mfundi Vundla. I watched Generations every single night.
So overnight we became a household name.
Wow. Beyond providing blankets, what do you believe is the deeper mission of or the impact for 67 blankets? Let's first get this right. It's 67 blankets for Mandela Day, or just for Mandela?
Well, either now.
What is it registered
because
as?
Mandela, it's registered as 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day.
Okay.
But we don't mind the dropping of the day because we make every day a Mandela Day.
Yes.
Mandela Day is, as you know, the 18th of July, his birthday, where people around the globe are encouraged to spend 67 minutes of their time doing something to help someone in need. And the reason 67, people ask, Madiba gave 67 years of his life fighting for freedom and being of service to our country and to the world.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so can you share some of the most impactful stories or testimonials, that you've received from people who have been touched by this initiative? Now, I remember something that got to me, and that was covering the stadium in PE. I think it was the biggest
happiness blanket.
Right.
That was recent. That was a few months ago.
So that's something that resonated. That was huge for me.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that, or do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So April 21st was the United Nations International Day of Happiness.
Okay.
And we decided, as 67 blankets, we're going to create the hugest happiness blanket in the world. Am I right?
Oh, wow.
No, I'm wrong. I think we might have to go back a bit.
March 20th.
March 20th. Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay, March 20th. Okay. So the hugest happiness blanket in the world. We aligned 67 blankets aligned with the United Nations International Day of Happiness, which is March 20th. So my assistant Yaku Lotta designed
who's
designed this beautiful pixelated happy face emoji that was at the center of thousands of other blankets. So from the sky you see that smiley emoji and thousands of blankets, and we did this at Nelson Mandela University in Bechan. So that was very powerful. Now, but going back to what you were talking about, the aim of 67 blankets is to provide warmth to people in need. However, in the process, something quite magical has happened, which was not, it was not in my thoughts about, this is what we're going to do and then the result is going to be that. When you look at the Facebook feed, you see people coming together from all walks of life, all races, religions, socioeconomic backgrounds, children, men, women, they come together, so people are getting off their phones and they are comparing notes about stitches and colors, and there's a camaraderie that is coming back into our lives. And I'm very proud to say that we are turning 12 in January. And we've done remarkable work. I just wanted 67 blankets and then I was going to get on with my life and get to the pool and go traveling and have a nice time with my husband. But he wasn't well, and 67 blankets exploded. And so my life changed, and I want to say that 67 blankets has been the biggest gift of my life. That was presented to me by Zelda Lachransi.
Wow, Zelda is amazing. And I think she also continues to keep Madiba's legacy alive, and I think every single person that owns a blanket that has come from this initiative will keep this legacy going. So I was going to ask you the next questions, which you answered already, and there's a lot of repetition in what I wanted to ask you, because I want this to be quite impactful, and I want the message of what you're trying to achieve to really resonate. It's a blanket. Why don't you go out and buy a blanket? Do you understand that? That's like that. I mean, that's questions that I've been asked. I'm trying to rally a group of people, obviously, that would help me support your cause and to get involved. I see why 67 blankets and taking the effort into gifting somebody with something handmade. This is the time that Madiba would have taken out of his. I danced in front of Madiba a couple times, by the way. So as an Indian classical dancer, and he came to Lenasia a couple times, and I was very small and young, so he was this giant of a man, and probably would still be a giant of a man. But I just think it's so important that people understand your perspective of why knitting a blanket.
So some people do say, why not buy a blanket? It's actually cheaper. Cheaper. But you know, when you sit for hours and hours and you're working with people, I mean, it's when the word social cohesion comes to mind. You know, we are coming together as a society. We're knitting our lives together. We're knitting our nation together. We're knitting nations together. And when we've worked with certain corporates, you know, you see there's a knitting corner on a Friday, and people just gravitate to that corner. They sit around, and you know, the companies have provided wool for their employees, and then comes the display on Mandela Day or before, because as I said, we make every day a Mandela Day. We try to hand out blankets before Mandela Day, because you know, the cold has already set in, and then you witness, you know, the people who work in the kitchen, in the canteen, on their knees, next to the CEO, sewing together the blankets to create the biggest banking blanket in history. You know, so those things happen, the coming together of all types of people.
For the same cause.
For the same cause.
Absolutely. And that's what I love. I mean, I think that's where, like I said, I resonate. And because we have more than 35 OEMs in the country, or manufacturers, brands, car brands, and there's one day that they all come together for one cause, and that's women empowerment, all under one roof.
Wow.
So that's, I think, in the same way I feel, no matter, you know, color, creed, or race, you come together for one cause, and all in the name of an icon, you know, in the name of the man that has brought so much of peace and hope to our nation. So I think that's wonderful. So what were some of the biggest challenges? And I think this is one reason we're sitting here, but you tell me. And how did you overcome those challenges?
So one would think that the idea of laying out thousands of blankets across the lawns of the union buildings comes with challenges. And of course there are challenges, but I didn't see it as a challenge. I saw this picture and it had to happen. So you put it out and you talk to the right people, and you talk to the Knitwits for Madiba, KNITWITS, Knitwits, we call ourselves Knitwits for Madiba, and our ambassadors around the country, and you engage with a company like Stutterford Van Lines, who've been amazing.
Sorry, I just want to interrupt you one second. Knitwits. I love it, but where did it come from?
Knitwits, okay. Knitwits, a very interesting story. I mean, I wasn't sure. There's some people go Knitwits. You know, I was wondering if people would be offended by such a word. And
unusual.
One of my friends, when he saw some posting on Facebook about people gathering together, knitting, crocheting, he said, "Oh, I love to see all the knitwits at play." And I thought, well, I like that. So in my next communication on Facebook with our 67 Blankets family, I went, "Dear Nitwits, KNIT, capital WITS, for Madiba," not knowing if people might be offended or if they'd like it. I can tell you, you can go around South Africa and places in England and America and Guatemala, people are calling themselves nitwits. It's just really hooked in. So we have actually taken ownership of that word, nitwit.
I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. So what was one of your truly proud moments in this initiative in the last, well, you said 12 years, right?
Yeah.
So 12 years. Just except for the PE, Kobecha, big blanket. That was my favorite, by the way.
Yeah.
But what's something that really stood out for you?
You know, there are quite a few, but the one that stands out right now is when we, we partnered for years, the Department of Correctional Services, where we got prisoners making blankets for people on the outside whose lives were affected by crime and poverty. And we created, in 2018, we kick-started the Mandela Centenary celebrations by creating the largest portrait blanket in the world depicting the face of Madiba.
Wow.
So every blanket...
Was this done at Lone Hill, right?
No,
at that prison?
It was done at Zonderwater Maximum Correctional Center.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Outside Cullinan.
Okay.
So every blanket was a pixel in the face of Madiba, comprising thousands of I think something like 7,000 blankets just for his face, surrounded by the flag and etc. and the date. And that you could, when you're on the ground, we worked with the prisoners, hundreds of inmates, and the coming together of people living in tiny cells with people on the outside, creating this massive portrait was quite something. It has never been done before.
Right.
That to me was very, very, very special. So we could see the image from the sky and via satellite. We got 2 satellite images of that. So we got that book, I gave you that book earlier, which depicts a 10-year history of 67 blankets with the most gorgeous, vibrant pictures of people receiving blankets, people making blankets, and our Guinness World Records. We've got 4 Guinness World Records.
Yep.
So that those are very, very special times. And you kind of, because we're moving so fast, we're snowballing.
Right.
It's every day is a new excitement. So one tends to forget one's history, and that's why I think that book was so important, because when you go through there, you go, how did this happen? How did it happen that we laid out this incredible portrait?
So where can someone get hold of that book?
You can get the book at Exclusive Books.
Okay.
And online at Amazon, I think.
So we'll have this book put up here, and we'll have some. So on the screen right now, you are seeing the book. This is the book, and you can get that at Amazon and.
Not Amazon. Where, Yaku?
Exclusive Books.
Exclusive Books.
Exclusive Books.
And also online, www.67blankets.co.za.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to put up on the screen exactly where you can buy the book that I received for free, signed by the author. Okay, I'm just showing off, but yes, you can get the book. So in what ways does 67 Blankets for Mandela foster a sense of national unity, except for us getting together and knit, not me, but everybody else getting together and knitting? I remember there was one time, now you're going to think I'm your stalker, I am your stalker, but there was one time everybody hung a blanket on a tree. type of thing.
Okay, so yeah, it's you're almost right there.
Okay.
But so every year it's become tradition
Right.
for 67 blankets on Mandela Day, July 18th. By July 18th, we've pretty much handed out all our blankets
All right.
that have been received because we make every day a Mandela Day. So those blankets need to be sent out, and we personally go out into the communities, into rural areas, into squatter camps, into orphanages, oncology units, etc., to deliver blankets to those in need. So on Mandela Day, it's become tradition for 67 blankets to do our secret scarves movement all around the country at the same time on July 18th, where people, our nitwits, our ambassadors, go out and they hang scarves in trees and around lampposts. And so there are pockets of color all around our country on July 18th, created by 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day, where people who are strolling home see this winter wonderland of bright, beautiful splendor, and then they, people are curious, they go up and they look at these scarves, and attached to each scarf is a little love note that reads, "I am not lost. If you are cold and need me, please take me. Love, 67 blankets, kiss, kiss, kiss."
I love that.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I have an idea, and I'm going to put that out now, but what exactly would be the cost of knitting those scarves in pink and yellow?
Not much.
Just give me
50 rand?
50 rand.
I'm guessing.
Next year I'm going to paint the entire country with pink and yellow. Women in Motoring South Africa for GBV in conjunction with 67 blankets.
Brilliant.
I have just made a commitment. Literally.
Did you hear that, Yaku?
So I am doing that. And I'm going to get them to knit because I'm not going to knit or crochet. But I would absolutely love that to campaign and for the awareness of GBV, rape and suicide. Are we on for that, Sholo? My cameraman behind me is giving me the thumbs up. Okay, so how do you keep the spirit of Mandela alive? And I think that's so important to me. This question is so important to me, the answer to this question. How do you keep his spirit alive through the work that you do?
I think people love to be part of something big. And 67 blankets has become quite a giant.
Right.
And, when we go for our Guinness World Records, or when we do an activation around the country, for instance, 2 or 3 years ago, we did our Local Blankets is Lekker campaign, where each region around the country, KwaZulu-Natal, Cape Town, Bloemfontein, Gqeberha, took ownership of a spectacular event. And I must tell you, I'm so proud of the work being done all around the country. And so I visited each region, and I was just gobsmacked by the talent in our country, because what we do is we also bring together, it's not just people making blankets, but on those special days we bring homegrown talent onto the stage. We have had the likes of Thabo Mbeki speaking, someone from the United Nations speaking. We've had 2 people from the United Nations speaking for us, Cheryl Carolus, Judge Dikgang Moseneke. So powerful people, Bantu Holomisa, General Bantu Holomisa, who they are friends of mine and Doe's that have supported 67 blankets all along. Grassa Michelle coming along. So people like to hang or be photographed with, PJ Powers.
I love her.
She's amazing.
Now that one stands out for me.
She supports us all the way. Timothy Malloy, Vota Kellerman, who's got 3 or 4 Grammy Awards now, the flautist. And so we bring all kinds of people together, from politicians, although I'm not political. I don't want any rallying at our events, and we never have that. It's just friends that support, who happen to have a position in government. and they never push their agenda. It's always, you know, knitting our country together, knitting our lives together. That's the message. So I think people, how do you keep the spirit alive? By creating excitement. And I don't think I need to do it anymore because it's being done all around, you know.
Yes,
and,
absolutely.
And getting the youth involved, that's so important.
It's to just drive it forward and to pave the way for our future generation to continue this initiative, because it is an initiative that needs to gain that attention and traction and momentum to continue, because it's a warm initiative.
I don't think it will ever stop. I really don't. It's just like it's exploding around us as we speak.
Absolutely. So I must say that you know, your inspiration and your devotion to all of this is something I resonate with. This is my 15th year in the industry, in an industry that's I interviewed over 1,000 people in the past, during the past 5 years, from every corner of South Africa, and we went over to America in 2023, where our content reached 33 states in America. So this has snowballed, and it obviously came from a place of passion, so I resonate. But what are your aspirations? I know what's my aspirations in terms of what we want for the Motoring Woman of the Year Awards, or Women in Motoring South Africa, that have to work 10 times harder than our male counterpart. What are your aspirations and your future goals?
Okay, so there's always a call for wool. I mean, we get calls every day, we need wool. So people who've got the will, but not the wool. People in we've got the Alpha Day Ministries in Soweto, run by Pastor Maureen. You know, these are women that want to create blankets for people less fortunate.
Absolutely.
And so there's always that call. And I think one of the, it was amazing when we got a donation in 2015 of, what was it, 13 million rands worth of wool. Wow. It was just astounding. That's when we were able to get many of the prisons on board and thousands of people around the country. And that's when at Drakenstein Correctional Center, we laid out the largest crochet blanket in the world, measuring, I think, 4 acres. And then immediately afterwards, the blankets get distributed through Stutterford van lines and our ambassadors around the country to communities.
We still have Stutterford. We still have
Stutterford van lines.
And Kismet, obviously.
Yeah, Kismet. Yeah. So our challenge is wool.
Okay.
You know, people wanting wool, and that's a challenge.
Right.
Laying out thousands of blankets for me is a dream.
Where do we find the sheep from?
A sheep farm. That's a good idea. So going forward, I would love for companies to come on board and hold our hand and marry us. Yes. You know, and walk the journey, because it is exciting.
I love that. Marry us, because with my initiative, sorry to interrupt, but Nedbank always says, and on my stage, like, MOT and Nedbank are married in community of property.
Oh, isn't that amazing?
Feel where our MC, who's also the head of my committee, who I will be meeting in an hour's time from now, she literally says it. Yeah. We are 7 years together, married in community of property.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So that's what we need.
So that's our thinking. Yes. Marrying, you know, holding hands, partnership, and I think it's a. You know, 67 blankets is vibrant, it's colorful, it's warm, it's a sexy initiative for companies to partner with now.
Absolutely.
Because we're not going away. Yeah. We're going nowhere.
Yeah. I love that. You're definitely going nowhere. We need those blankets. I need to do my pink and yellow blankets next year in your 12th anniversary. So that was going to be my next question, actually. How can we support you? What can our ladies do in terms of, wool, we need sheep ladies.
We need sheep.
Guys, we need sheep. Okay. But yes, companies that will get involved in. I am partnering with 67 Blankets, as I have partnered with RADA, Rape and Drug and Abuse, for the past 5 years. This is my new partnership, and it's a very, very warm partnership. I also travel the entire country. I've been to every single corner of South Africa with my GBB rape and suicide initiatives, and I'm very not just pleased and honored and grateful to say that I have 39 OEMs, every single manufacturer in this country that are behind my cause. So I ask all of you who are involved in helping me to get involved with Carolyn to help me warm up this country, because we are capable of working together and we are capable of making this not just the biggest movement in South Africa, but the biggest, we can make the biggest blanket in the world.
Yeah, well, we have that record. We can make it even bigger with your partnership and support.
Absolutely,
we can do bigger. We can cover Table Mountain.
Every car needs a nitwit to do a blanket for you. Okay, we can have this lovely blankets given to new car owners, women that are driving cars for the first time. That's we are evolving as women, and you know, it's so important for us to support each other. So
another way we are keeping Madiba's legacy alive is on every blanket we put a satin label with our trademark heart logo, 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day.
I love that.
And then we've got a QR code, so we know who the blanket came from, where the blanket goes, and there's space for people to write their name, made with love by Cindy Snyman, and I don't know where that name came from. I don't know any Cindy Snyman.
I don't know Cindy Snyman either.
Maybe this is Cindy Snyman out there.
I know a few Cindys and Snymans, but not together. But yeah, Carolyn, thank you so much for joining me. I know we're going to see a lot more of each other, even during this year. Let's start this. Let's get the ball rolling.
Thank you.
Let's get the wheels turning, as we'd like to say in our industry. And look, it's for more than 5 years now that we have been connected, Carolyn, and I truly believe that our non-profits share a remarkable alignment, and I want to express my gratitude once again for everything that you have done for us.
Thank you.
Okay, on behalf of potentially millions of women worldwide, I'm thankful that you welcomed us into your home on that fateful, memorable day. Now that we are able to give back, we are eager to collaborate with you and to pay tribute to the empowerment that you have provided to us unknowingly. When you invited us over to your home, you did not know what you were expecting. It was my first shoot ever.
Wow.
I've traveled, like I said, every corner of this country, and I've traveled internationally after our first meeting.
That's incredible.
And,
I had no idea the impact that it would have.
I always tag you.
I know.
and you don't remove my tags from your page. So I think this is our time now to give back, and I cannot wait. It's personal to me because your husband's name was Doe, and Doe was the co-founder of MFC, a division of Nedbank, and he was a pioneer in Women in Motoring South Africa. So there's that connection. I'm just this, touchy-feely, emotional, no coincident but fate type of person, and I just really analyze everything and read too much into it and find that this is meant to be and why person, and that makes me happy. So this makes me happy.
Thank you. This makes me happy too.
I'll never forget the story that you and Sharon, your sister, shared with me about your lives. And that touched me as well, because I came from a very similar background but not much guidance. I love the fact that you are theatrical. You come from, we have so much in common, more than you'd even imagine, except for our dose.
Yeah.
We have a lot in common. And then there's Yaku, that I absolutely adore. I've been following Yaku for ages. I know he's been with you for around 15 years now. So I love
10 years.
10 years, right? So I love that partnership.
He's a guy. He's a real solid support.
Absolutely.
And he's really grown enormously in those 10 years. The other person who's such a guiding light for me is my late mom. My mom grew up in an orphanage at Nazareth House. So you spoke about, moments that touched me. Going to Nazareth House, and we've just recently gone again, engaging with the little orphans and imagining my mom there saying to visitors, take me home, and nobody ever did.
So you talk about this orphanage and your mom being there, and I didn't want to mention it because it's not my place to, but you did, and that's the story your sister and you shared with me. And so I work with a lot of orphanages. Again, another alignment. So I know a lot of you out there, a lot of people think, my God, Desh is moving around with these movers and shakers and the who's who of South Africa. It's not because I choose humanity over anything else. There's no material. I'm blessed to have to have great support financially, but that's not what I chase. I chase this the instinct of, can we connect? I don't believe that I connect with a brand. Sorry, the brand and that logo has absolutely no meaning to me. It's the people. I connect with people like the owners of We Buy Cars, Van and Dirk van der Walt. One of my two first supporters before Nedbank came along, and then with Nedbank it's Stefan Potgieter, and with Seriti Solutions, the owner Roy Somerton. These are the people that have been supporting me for the past 7 years. Brad Kaftel, owner of the Hatfield Motor Group. Jeff Osborne, he was the RMI CEO, and he's also a legend in the motoring trade. He was with me last week, and 77 years old and going strong. That's my ambassador. So I'm hoping that the next connection that I make would be with you, to bring more power to what we are doing. So thank you for sitting with me.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing all those bodyguards to scare me. I've never had that before. This is a first for me. I literally run away from any armed or any bodyguards when I go to a mall, because I'm so afraid with everything that I've been through. I'm so scared of guns. I haven't seen one.
Me too.
But thank you. It's a great experience. I have bodyguards on my property, guys, like bodyguards. But anyway, thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Very much.
Thank you so much for watching and supporting us. Your encouragement means the world to our community. Our platforms are thoughtfully designed to empower women in motoring by providing valuable resources, inspiring stories, and practical advice that celebrate confidence, independence, and skill behind the wheel. Ladies, we believe every woman deserves to feel knowledgeable and empowered, whether she's a seasonal or seasoned driver, a car enthusiast, or just beginning her journey in the industry. Together, we're breaking stereotypes, fostering a supportive network, and driving change in an industry traditionally dominated by men, but some lovely men too. Your continued support fuels this movement and inspires us to create even more inclusive and empowering content. Here's to many more miles of shared passion, many more wool, hopefully, okay, and passion and empowerment. Thank you so much for being part of this exciting ride. I'm going to have Carolyn's captions and Carolyn's contact details on the caption of this video across our social medias. If you want to get in touch, please do so directly. But you're gonna see a lot of blankets in my studio and in our in our path from now going forward. But always remember, the question isn't who's going to let me, it's who's going to stop me.